Now at 9, why the Carthage Tigers baseball program is left without a home after the city closes it down. Plus, we'll hear from a Fort Scott couple on behind-the-scenes work on their long-lasting love story. And
unidentified flying objects raising concerns on Capitol Hill. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with what the White House has to say coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A baseball stadium in Carthage closes because of safety concerns. This is your KOAM News at 9. I'm Jalen Banks. The Carl Luton Stadium in Carthage has been home to the Carthage Tigers baseball program for more than 50 years until now. KOAM Shagun Bomdali has more.
The Carthage Tigers have been left homeless after Carthage city engineer declared Carl Luton Stadium unfit and unsafe for occupancy. The city closed the stadium to games.
We have a situation of black mold. We have electrical wires that are exposed. The concrete is bursting. It's breaking down. Water has gotten into that, so it's a hazard for people. It's just an unsafe environment. And of course, once we're made aware of the full severity of the situation, we really don't have any other option.
The superintendent of Carthage Schools says the news came as a surprise.
We had received a call from the city regarding what they believe is unsafe. It's something I think everybody recognized. It has been like that for many years, but for some reason the city determined at this point the best thing is to shut it down.
Since baseball season starts in less than a month, the school district is looking for other places to play.
Once we were notified by the city that the field would not be able to use for games, we started searching for places to play our home games. We'll still have a season, we'll still have a place to practice, or just searching for something for our 10 or 11 home games.
The kids can still practice on the field. We just can't have any of the general public or spectators in up and around on the stands and in the building in any way.
But they do not have much time to find a place to play. The baseball season starts in March. Reporting in Carthage, Shagun Bomdali, KOAM News.
The Parks and Recs director says city leaders will meet to discuss their next step. The Fort Scott, Kansas Police Department is asking for your help to help with vandalism in the town. They say today alone they responded to 18 calls of vandalism. The vandalism calls pertain to cars, homes, garages, and fences that were spray painted with profanity and other tags. So far, the calls seem to be in the area of South Crawford to Couch and 4th and 8th Street. They ask if you have any information or home security footage to aid the investigation. Contact the police department. Chief Meteorologist Doug Cady joins us with the first look at the weather.
Well, definitely it turned out to be kind of a crazy day for us today. We had showers, we had thunderstorms during the morning hours, and then very windy during the afternoon. But our temperature did shoot up to 57. Normal high is about 50 for this time of the year. After we got rid of all the showers and thunderstorms, you can see just bands all morning long. Some pretty good amounts of rain, about a ½ inch of rain. We broke out, we saw a little bit of sunshine, a few showers late this afternoon. Now this whole storm system is rolling out of here and we get a little bit of a break. Where you see the greens, over a ½ inch, most of us about a ½ inch of rain. If we look at our stats at the airport in Joplin, just shy of a ½ inch, 1.77 for the month so far. Through the rest of the night, it gets kind of cold, drop back upper 30s, and then we get back up to about 48 by 10 a.m. So at least we see some improvements. Another storm system tomorrow night. We'll look at that here in just a bit.
A Missouri judge today overturned the conviction of Lamar Johnson, the St. Louis man who has spent nearly 28 years in prison for a murder he says he didn't commit. Johnson, now 50, was convicted of murder for the 1994 fatal shooting of Marcus Boyd. Police and prosecutors blamed the killing on a dispute over drug money. He maintained he was innocent from day one, saying he was with his girlfriend miles away when the crime occurred. The case for Johnson's release was centered around a key witness who recanted his testimony and a prison inmate who says it was he, not Johnson, who joined Campbell in the killing. 11 states, including Missouri, are considering a right to repair for farming equipment. The states introduced bills that would force farming equipment manufacturers to provide the tools, software, parts, and manuals needed for farmers to do their own repairs. The bills are a response to farmers unable to repair their own tractors and combines, which forces them to wait sometimes days and paying steep labor costs. The proposition has found pushback from manufacturers worried about releasing trade secrets and safety of users. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly today announced a new set of Family First Prevention grants totaling nearly $20 million. It will go towards creating and growing programs designed to keep families together and preventing children from entering the foster care system. The Family First Prevention programs have helped more than 3,000 Kansas children remain with their families. A Fort Scott couple have enjoyed a lot of Valentine's Days together. Larry and Jonna K. Ballou are celebrating their 64th anniversary this year. The couple met at a skating rink at Fort Scott in 1957 when Larry asked Jonna to skate with him. During their time together, the couple have traveled to almost every state in the United States by car. They say when traveling is important, it's important not to hurry to get to the destination, but enjoy the time traveling with each other.
We're up in the mountains, and we come down the mountain into this little town, and it was so unique. We just stayed there all day, walked around. Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, we didn't.
There was no to here to there. When you take a vacation, it should be a vacation.
Later in the show, KOAM's Jonna Haldela will tell more of the couple's story. And love is a beautiful thing, and some folks have experienced for quite a long time. On this Valentine's Day, we visited a nursing home in Joplin for some advice on what to do for a successful relationship.
I did something today and you missed it, but we had a party in the other room down here in the activity room.
And me and him slow danced together.
We actually danced together 2 or 3 times, and I can't hardly stand at all. But I managed to get the strength up to do it because I wanted to dance with her.
If you'd like to submit a picture of who you think about for Valentine's Day, we'd love to see. Go online to our Facebook page at KOAM News Now and find our pinned post. The American College of Physicians recognized Pittsburgh State University physician with a high-ranking award of mastership. Dr. Kathleen Sandness is grateful for the award, but her pride comes from working with students and the staff at PSU's Health Center. She attributes her success to her willingness to learn and adapt.
As would any physician, especially as we see more and more students that have had things like heart transplants. They've had lymphomas, bone marrow transplants. So it's a more difficult patient population many times in a health consideration.
The Mastership Award is the highest attainable award for college physicians. Questions and intrigue are swirling around the Hill over those unidentified objects shot down over the U.S. Even after a classified briefing, lawmakers still have many questions as the military tries to identify what these objects are and where they came from. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
President Biden is facing mounting pressure to give more answers after the U.S. shot down 3 more unidentified objects from the sky. The shoot-downs come days after the military downed a suspected Chinese spy balloon earlier this month, putting the U.S. on heightened alert.
They were shot down because of we were taking abundance of caution.
U.S. defense officials say they've recovered the 30-foot payload from the Chinese surveillance craft with a crane ship and separated the electronics and sensors for processing. They're also trying to recover the objects shot down off Alaska's coast, Canada, and lastly Lake Huron, which the military missed at first.
First shot missed, second shot hit.
It's unclear what the objects were or where they came from, despite U.S. officials emphasizing Americans are not in danger. Lawmakers in Congress received an intelligence briefing on Tuesday, some of whom are questioning the government's response.
These objects have been flying over us for years. What's different about the last 2 weeks is that we've started shooting them down.
Several Democrats are supporting the Biden administration's approach, while Republicans are calling for more transparency.
And I believe they've taken the right approach on each of the 4 objects.
99% of the information we were just briefed on
there's no reason it can't be shared with the American people.
The White House says the leading explanation from the intelligence community regarding the 3 unidentified objects is that they were potentially benign and used for commerce or research purposes. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up, a look at Valentine's Day gift prices.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Reporting with Fox Business, I'm Lydia Hu, with a story about Valentine's Day prices that are so high, it might just break your heart. That story is coming up.
Gifts for loved ones are costing a lot more this Valentine's Day. Fox Business correspondent Lydia Hu is at a bake shop in New Jersey with the heartbreaking numbers.
Today's Consumer Price Index report shows that prices are still very high, and it's making Valentine's Day an expensive holiday for Americans. If you take a look at this, you can see prices for things like sugar and sweets up more than 12% from last year. Jewelry is going to set Americans back more than 5% in costs from last year. Flowers and dining out also still expensive. These prices are high because costs for many businesses are still high. And for insight on that, we have Geraldine Keogh. She's the co-owner of Dessert Ladies here in Sterling, New Jersey. Geraldine, you had to make the difficult decision to raise your prices about 8 to 10% on many of your dessert products. What's behind your increased costs?
Unfortunately, all of our prices for all our raw materials have gone up. Now, they've gone up from 22 to 26%, but that's not an increase we could pass on to our consumers. It would just not work. So we will absorb some of the cost, but we did, after January 1st, we did raise our prices between 8 and 10%, depending on the item.
How are your customers reacting to that? You know, you and I were talking about you have a great customer base, but this is, in many ways a luxury product. I mean, they could decide maybe they'll just go without this year. So how are they responding?
They could do without, but most of our customers are very supportive, and they'll buy a little less than they did before, but they'll still buy something. And we are seeing that downturn and this trend of buying less, like inviting less people to parties, buying a smaller gift for somebody. And that is something that's been consistent now for the last 6-7 months.
Well, it does seem like Americans are still going to celebrate Valentine's Day this year because, according to the National Retail Federation, we know that the average American consumer is going to spend about $17 more this year on Valentine's Day products. A lot of that is because of inflation. But I do want to end this, Geraldine, on a sweet note and let everybody know just how wonderful your chocolates are. So if someone's lucky enough to be able to come and celebrate Valentine's Day here at Dessert Ladies, they surely will not be disappointed. Reporting for Fox Business from Sterling, New Jersey, I'm Lydia Hu.
A lot of us are experiencing sticker shock at the grocery store these days, but it might be cheaper to eat out. We're seeing all over social media young people are becoming very cost conscious, and they started cooking at home to save money, but food prices get so expensive, they're now saving more by eating out again. The proof is in the data. Food at home rising 11.3% in the past year in the latest inflation data. That's versus 8.2% at restaurants. One TikToker tried making a Chipotle steak bowl at home. It cost her $13 to buy it at the restaurant, but about $15 to duplicate it back at home. Doug is back with a complete look at the forecast, and later we look at the current state of Missouri teacher pay.
Well, of course, we had the showers, we had the thunderstorms during the morning hours, a little bit of sunshine, very windy during the afternoon, but temperatures not bad for us today. Most of us into the upper 50s during the afternoon. Nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, just on the west side of the town. Look at our temps. We're starting to drop off. We're in the upper 40s in our northwestern counties, and then still 60 when you get to Grand Lake, but most of us are sitting into the 50s, but we're going to drop back as we go through the overnight hours tonight. And of course, we've had the winds all day long. These southerly winds still fairly strong. Now they're kind of southwesterly winds, and we are still getting wind gusts in that 40 to 45 mile per hour range, especially on the Missouri side. These will eventually start to calm down late tonight, but it's going to be pretty windy as we go through the next several hours. Let's go outside. Here's 7th. Here's Rangeline, currently sitting at 56. Sustained winds at 31. Humidity at 53%. Through the overnight hours, we eventually drop back to about 39 for a low, rebound into the upper 40s, plenty of sunshine as we go through the morning hours. All right, we had some showers in our northern counties this evening. Now the clouds are breaking up, pretty much clear skies. This storm system is racing away from us. Our storms we had this morning now already in eastern parts of Ohio, but building back to the west. Here's our next storm system, and this will start to affect us by the time we head into the overnight hours tomorrow night. All right, let's go through time. Mid to upper 30s, overnight lows. Tomorrow's going to be an odd day because our northern counties are going to have clouds. Our southern counties are going to have sunshine. And the temperatures, too. Yates Center will stay in the 40s. Most of us will be in the 50s. The farther south you work, the warmer it gets. Southern counties will shoot well into the 60s. McDonald County, Berry County, Delaware County, probably pushing 70 as we head into tomorrow afternoon. All right, here comes rain tomorrow night. Showers, even a few thunderstorms. So this is about 9 p.m. Periods of rain until about 11 or 12 o'clock. And then the backside of this system will produce some light showers. But you can see a little bit of pink. So a little bit of sleet, a little bit of snow trying to mix in our far northern counties. Everybody else stays mainly showers. Here's 3 a.m. and then by Thursday morning, this system is gone. But Thursday is going to be a cold day. We're going to have mostly cloudy skies, 25 to 30 degrees colder. High temps are only going to make it into the mid 30s on Thursday afternoon. All right, a little bit of snow and sleet in our far northern counties. Not a big deal. Everybody else will stay liquid with this next storm system. Let's go 58 tomorrow, then a high of only 34 on Thursday. We do rebound 44 Friday, 46 Saturday, back near 60 on Sunday. Then rain chances starting to increase really a good chunk of next week.
I'm sure when we've got weather like this, it makes your job really fun because it's not super predictable. We've got a roller coaster of tons of stuff going on.
This is what I like. The summertime I do not. It gets boring.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Coming up, a new bill could aid pay for Missouri teachers. A bill going through the Missouri General Assembly would let school districts have more leeway when paying their teachers. Marina Silva tells us why not all educators are for it.
Which causes it to do our effect, which is be brighter.
Across the state of Missouri, like this one at Jolie Barber in Laclede County, it's hard to find teachers to fill classrooms. That's why one state lawmaker, Republican Representative Ed Lewis, wants his new bill to pass.
This one is addressing, I think, what we would say hard to staff areas and hard to staff schools. And one thing that we all know is that there are certain positions that are harder to fill in schools than other positions.
He says to get people in those hard to fill open positions, you may have to pay some teachers more.
You may have to raise that salary schedule, raise that person on salary schedule to entice especially new people into working in a certain particular school.
But Superintendent Dr. Rochelle Jennings says increasing some teachers' salaries and not others could be a bad idea.
We don't want competition between, I'm showing up every day and so are you, and we're essentially teaching the same number of kids every day. It's just your topic is a little bit harder to find someone, and my topic's a little easier to find someone to fill that role. That probably wouldn't be a healthy culture to live and work in.
The bill still needs to be passed on the House floor before moving on. A new study reveals widespread masking likely did little to nothing to stop the spread of COVID-19 despite CDC recommendations. A group of 12 researchers using masking data gathered from 78 studies during the outbreaks of the coronavirus, H1N1, and the flu, writing, quote, "Wearing a mask may make little to no difference in how many people caught a flu-like illness or COVID-like illness." The study authors did not admit to some limitations and risk of bias, including the low number of people who followed mask guidance and widespread variation of outcomes. As of right now, no U.S. states have mask mandates in place. Next, we look at what brand has an Easter-inspired soda. I have a question for you all. Do you love Peeps marshmallow candy so much that you just can't get enough? Imagine if you could drink them. Now, thanks to Pepsi, the soft drink manufacturer is bringing a soda flavor like the Easter marshmallow treat to store and shells. Pepsi Peeps actually came out 2 years ago, but back then, only a few thousand cans were given away in a contest. Marketers at Pepsi noticed some of those cans ended up reselling for thousands of dollars. So this year, they're giving the people what they want, just not forever. Pepsi X Peeps will only be available in mini cans and about 20-ounce bottles for a limited time. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, we look at one couple celebrating their 64th Valentine's Day. Plus,
international aid is now flowing more quickly into Turkey and Syria after last week's deadly earthquakes. I'm Greg Palcott in Iskender in Turkey. That's my story. Coming up.
it's a story for the decades and one that's appropriate for Valentine's Day as well. KOAM Jana Haldala introduces us to a Fort Scott, Kansas couple celebrating more than 60 years of marriage.
We didn't really even know each other at the time, and he skated, I skated, and he just came. You ask somebody to skate, you know, you partners and you skate, and we just started skating, and there we went.
Jonah Kay and Larry Ballou fell in love on the skate rink.
We kept on skating though, about every night skating, and
we was pretty much together after that.
Yeah. We never separated after that.
The couple got married in 1957. They were both teenagers. They now had 3 children, 6 grandchildren and 1 step-grandchild, 13 great-grandchildren and 3 step-great-grandkids.
Had to find a good job.
Yeah, you had to find a job. Back then they was hard to come by.
You know, there wasn't any jobs. I mean, he worked at a gas station when we got married. You know, they pumped your own gas for you.
The couple says marriage is like a job. You don't have it if you don't work for it every day in your life.
Sometimes you don't talk to each other for a day, but then it's forgotten and you go on.
You just go on and it's like it never happened, you know. Whatever your spout was about, it wasn't that important.
Right.
What was important, it was us. And that's what you have to remember, what's important in your life together. What you have, what you're going to have, because you won't have it if you don't work for it.
During their years of marriage, the couple has traveled through states by car. Their advice, don't hurry to get to the destination. Rather, enjoy the time traveling with each other.
We're up in the mountains, and we come down the mountain into this little town, and it was so unique. We just stayed there all day, walked around. Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, we didn't.
There was no to here to there. When you take a vacation, it should be a vacation.
Taking it a day at a time to keep this love rolling. In Fort Scott, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
The couple still lives in Jonna Kay's childhood home, a place they say is always open to family and friends. As you all know, it's Valentine's Day, and that may have some people thinking about love. Some people say love at first sight is real, but Susan Albers, a psychologist for the Cleveland Clinic, says love at first sight is only connected to passion. She adds there are 3 things that make up love: intimacy, passion, and commitment. Albers says if you experience love at first sight, it could be you're rewriting a love story to meet an expectation. He also says if you think you've fallen in love with someone at first sight, you'll want to make sure by looking to see if you have some shared hobbies and values with your significant other. A nonprofit organization has plans for an abandoned school in Pittsburgh. Point Forward is addressing the critical shortage of child care options in southeast Kansas. The nonprofit plans for redevelopment will cost $5.5 million.
3 weeks ago, another Kansas needs assessment came out, and we now have a needs of well over 1,000 child care places in Crawford County. So we formed the 501c3 to acquire the Washington School and 205 South Locust.
After the redevelopment, the nonprofit will hand the daycare to a local organization for operations. Students at Frank Layden Elementary School in Frontenac, Kansas are celebrating Valentine's Day with a class party. Students passed out candy and toys. Chocolate, of course, was the class favorite.
Yeah, I handed it to all my friends and my 2 teachers. Because it's mostly like you get to celebrate like with your family and stuff.
Kids passed out candy, notes, and even whoopee cushions. They had a blast with those, as you'd imagine. Nikki Haley made it official today. She's running for president in 2024. The former South Carolina governor and United States ambassador announced her candidacy in a video posted on Twitter. The 51-year-old daughter of Indian immigrants becomes the first major challenger to former President Donald Trump for the Republican nomination. Other Republicans, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former Vice President Mike Pence, are also expected to join the race. Millions of homeless and hungry in the quake zone are complaining about the slow pace of aid deliveries. Now the international community is stepping up. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more from Turkey.
The growing humanitarian crisis in Turkey and Syria is prompting a new push from the international community. It's now been 8 days since a pair of earthquakes killed more than 37,000 people and toppled more than 40,000 buildings. Those left homeless and hungry are complaining about the slow pace of aid deliveries. Here in the Turkish city of Iskenderun, we've seen people living in dire circumstances. There's little water or electricity, and most of the food and medicine is coming from aid distribution sites. But some say there's not enough to go around, leaving them out in the cold.
We're freezing. We didn't get any aid at all. No one came to us. No one asked us what we need. Nothing at all. The situation is dire.
And Mother Nature isn't helping. Those freezing temperatures are expected to continue until at least next week, making shelter a top priority at this point.
Our partners are trying to scale up, working around the clock to be able to provide assistance as quickly as we possibly can. Many homes are destroyed. Many people are now displaced.
On Tuesday, a second border crossing into Syria was finally opened. Aid shipments are now flowing more quickly, while the UN launches a fundraising effort for more than 5 million Syrians left homeless by the earthquakes.
Aid must get through from all sides to all sides through all routes without any restrictions.
Another top priority here, checking the structural integrity of damaged buildings to determine which ones can be saved. In Iskenderun, Turkey, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Doug joins us with another look at the forecast. Plus,
police looking for answers today after a gunman opens fire on the Michigan State University campus. I'm Mike Tobin in East Lansing. Details coming up.
Well, of course, we had the showers, we had the thunderstorms during the morning hours, and then a little bit of sunshine during the afternoon. Then, of course, the winds really picked up. In fact, they're still howling out there right now. Southwesterly winds sustained in that 15 to 20 mile per hour range, and the gusts have been much higher than that. Throughout the evening hours, look at this. We've had winds gusting 40 upwards to 50 miles per hour at times. It is going to stay super windy as we go through at least the next few hours, and then things will start to calm down just a little bit. Outside right now it looks pretty good. Planner for us tonight, we are going to drop back into the upper 30s. We're going to start the day with sunshine, temperatures into the upper 40s for highs. All right, we had a few showers in our northern counties for us a little bit earlier this evening, but now we have clear skies across the region. This whole storm system wrapping up, heading away from us, which is good news, but already we have our next storm system, which is building back across the southern parts of the Rockies, and that will start to affect us as we go into tomorrow night. All right, let's go through time. Tonight, mid to upper 30s for overnight lows. As we go into tomorrow, kind of a weird day. Our northern counties have clouds. Our southern counties have sun. Our northern counties kind of chilly. Our southern counties kind of warm. Anywhere from upper 40s in our northern counties. Most of us will be in the 50s. But once you get into our southern counties, we may push 70. So we may have about a 20, 25, 30 degree really span across the region, which is kind of crazy. As we go into tomorrow night, check this out. More showers, more thunderstorms, not near as widespread. Scattered about through the late evening into the overnight hours. But late tomorrow night, we may get a little light mixture of sleet, a little bit of snow in our northern counties. Most of us just showers. By Thursday, we have clouds kind of sticking around all day long, but look at our temps. We're talking about highs about 34, 35 degrees, which is kind of crazy. If we had a little bit of sleet and snow in our northern counties, not a really big deal, very minor accumulations. Here's your day planner for you, 55 by noon. High temp of 58. Much colder on Thursday, a high of 34, 44 Friday. We do start to warm back up by the second half of this weekend.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Doug.
You bet.
Coming up in sports, the Webb City boys hit the road for a rivalry game against Joplin, plus a big offensive day for the Missouri Southern baseball team against the East Central Tigers. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Well, the Joplin Eagles have just 10 days and 5 games remaining in the basketball regular season. Now, the first of those 5 is tonight at home against COC rival Webb City. And Joplin has now won 5 of 6 coming into the night. On the other side, Webb City trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Tonight it is Joplin winning 81-64. The big guys did work. Terrence Gibson leads the Eagles with 27. Whit Hafer goes for 23 points and 7 rebounds. To Carl Junction now, it's senior night. The CJ girls ranked #1 in the state, facing Neosho tonight. Sophomore Desi Williams, good early for Carl Junction. First quarter, Williams steals, heads the other way for the easy lay-in. Then late first, she's open on the far side. 3 is good. Williams 12 in the first half, finished with 14. In the second quarter, Destiny Berge, strong drive and finish. She leads the way with 24. Then Chloe Burke open for 3. Bulldogs up big at half. The third quarter, Hallie Shorter gets in on the action. Deep ball from the far corner. And Kylie Scott gets a 3-ball of her own here. Scott scores 15 in this one. Carl Junction rolls by Neosho on senior night, 74-31. Now to the boys, CJ trying to sweep on senior night. The Bulldogs scored first, but then Kale Smith gets going for Neosho. Tough shot there. Then in transition, knocks it in off the window. Smith scored 8 straight points for Neosho in the first. Carter Bosley working in the lane. Really don't know how he got this one off, but he did. Neosho leads by 9 going to the second. Now the two teams trade shots in the second. Aiden Bard fights for the board, makes his way back to the basket for 2. Other end, Carter Finsky steps out, hits a 3-ball for Neosho. The Wildcats beat CJ tonight, 64-47. They're now 18-5 overall this season. The Kansas City Chiefs will celebrate their Super Bowl championship tomorrow with a parade in Kansas City. The Chiefs beat the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 Sunday in Super Bowl 57 to claim their second championship in the last 4 years. Now, as is tradition, Chiefs quarterback, Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes celebrated yesterday with a trip to Disneyland. And Mahomes threw for 3 touchdowns Sunday, earning his second Super Bowl MVP award. Before his trip to Disneyland, though, he spoke to the media Monday morning to talk about the journey from the preseason to Super Bowl champions.
Taking in this whole year and everything that's came with it, man, I just wanted to thank my teammates. It was a heck of a run. We started out in OTAs in Dallas, Texas, then went to Kansas City, to St. Joe's, and then we ended up back here in AZ, man, winning the Super Bowl. And so I just want to thank my teammates, all the hard work they put in. My coaches, Coach Reed, and all the coaches that helped me be who I am, the Chiefs organization, and my family for supporting me every day. It's been an amazing run these last 5-6 years, and let's keep it rolling.
Well, that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
The community in East Lansing, Michigan left shaken after a gunman opens fire on the campus of Michigan State University. Several students are dead and more are injured. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin reports from the campus with new details we're learning about the gunman.
At least 3 students are dead and 5 more in critical condition after a gunman opened fire on the Michigan State University campus Monday night. Police identifying the suspect as 43-year-old Anthony McRae, who they say entered 2 different buildings on campus, firing at random before fleeing the scene. Students were left terrified and sheltering in place for hours.
Our first thought is just to get as far away from the situation as possible, as fast as possible. So we were just booking it on our bikes back to our dorm to try and get to what we would consider a safe place.
Thanks to a citizen tip, McRae was located several hours later by police dying of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police finding a note in McRae's pocket indicating a threat to 2 schools in Ewing, New Jersey, a community to which he had ties. Out of an abundance of caution, those schools were closed on Tuesday.
Another place that is supposed to be about community and togetherness, shattered by bullets and bloodshed.
Sadly, for some students, this was not their first time experiencing a tragedy of this kind. A mother of one student saying her daughter is a survivor of the Oxford High School shooting in 2021.
She lives right across from the Union, and she heard the screaming, and she called me right away. She's just devastated and just so scared right now. I just feel like it's a nightmare happening all over again.
The family's worst nightmare. It's happening far too often.
The motive behind the shooting is still a mystery. Police say they know of nothing that connects McRae to the university. In East Lansing, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
3 of the students who were killed have been identified as sophomore Brian Frazier, sophomore Ariel Anderson, and junior Alexandria Verner. And our thoughts are certainly with their families. Up next, we take a look at what Hollywood has to offer this week. Academy Awards nominees celebrate, a comedy duo makes a big announcement, and action-packed movies take the spotlight. It's all in today's Hollywood Nation with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Please pray for me. Keanu kicks off Wick Week, Funny Friends Tour, and nominees say photos, please, in the Hollywood Nation.
Take a picture with the opposition. The opposition.
Lights, cameras, luncheon. The annual Oscars nominees luncheon was held at the Beverly Hilton Monday. Stars going for the gold gathered, celebrated, and posed for that glamorous class photo with the countdown on for the 95th Academy Awards, March 12th. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are hitting the road together. The longtime friends and SNL alums announced the Tina Fey and Amy Poehler Restless Leg Tour. The limited run of East Coast shows stops in 4 cities, starting April 28th in Washington, D.C.
Get them on board. Let's have a good flight.
The Gerard Butler, Mike Colter action flick Plane is getting a sequel at sea. According to Variety, the upcoming thriller is dubbed Ship. Colter will headline as the story picks up right where the original left off. Production is set for later this year.
The game may be over, but the action is just beginning.
John Wick Chapter 4 made an announcement right after the Super Bowl, taking fan excitement into overtime. The action franchise has Wick Week rolling out with new exclusives every day, including a new poster Monday, and Thursday will deliver a new trailer. Keanu Reeves returns for Part 4 in theaters March 24th.
Last words, Winston.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Happy Valentine's Day to all, and that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with the video of otters from the New Hampshire Aquarium who painted Valentine's Day cards. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.